Bienvenidos a Deuces Wild from Las Vegas.
Unbelievable. And whoever in the chat room had Eric Byrnes at 16, you are the winner.
Felicidades to the bet when EB comes on the show.
Yeah, we every time we have a Tuesday, it usually starts after 8 p.m. And I'm like, I chunk it out there in the chat room. I'm like, all right, what's EB's ETA? And it'll stretch from one end of the spectrum to the other. And Luker last week even said, he goes, yeah, he's gonna be on there at 6:30. he thought you could be 30 minutes late.
Well, like I said, I mean, any guess within 60 minutes is probably a good one, but after 60 minutes, it times out. So, thrill, man. Backwoods, Louisiana. I know you got Trey hanging around there.
Yeah, Trey's right here. Trey's hanging out watching the show with us, but why do you always call it Backwoods, Louisiana when you're the one that has all the connection issues?
Well, look, I'm in a hotel in Las Vegas, so I can't guarantee anything with a nice little pool table.
I was going to say, you got a little pool table in the background, everything. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's the way to go have a LTP tournament with a pool table in there.
Well, just in case where you have to host any before or after parties, you want to make sure it's a room that could accommodate everybody to enjoy a few adult beverages, and you got to give the kids some activity to do. Otherwise, they're going to be running around like the hooligans they are and causing trouble outside of the room.
I like that. Hooligans. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, big tourney this weekend, man, out in Las Vegas, and we'll see how the boys perform.
Got it. How many games y'all slated to play?
So we start with 4. We'll have 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, and then depending on how we do, we get to the bracket play. I think the top 8 teams make it, and then it's a free for all for the chipper on Sunday. I got to imagine got to win at least 3 games on Sunday. So we got a deep roster. We're running 13 this weekend, which is usually not ideal. I like to keep it at 12 or under, but you know what? It's one of those ones where everyone was here, everyone was healthy, everyone was ready to go. I said, "Viva Las Vegas! Let's fucking do it."
There you go. Hey, everybody, get ready to play. You never know when it's going to be your turn to win the game.
All right, Thrill. So let's start right now with the Giants because they're on TV right now. They're in Philadelphia. They have been absolutely killing it. Now, they're still behind the Padres, but I don't want to let the Padres' success diminish what the Giants have been doing. It is incredible how well they've been playing.
So one of the big things that when I broke down the Giants from the get-go is when you are playing in a big league season, you're expected to win kind of the majority of games at home, and you try to break even on the road. The Giants, as of tonight, before this game started, they were 8-2 away from Oracle Park. So, you start out the year 8-2 on the road. That's a great sign for a ball club. And it's for me personally, it's coming from a lot of different people. Yastrzemski's been hot. Heliot Ramos and Flores had been hot early. They cooled off a little bit. Adames and Tyler Fitzgerald hit their first homers yesterday. So, the production's coming from a little bit of everybody, and the pitching staff's doing a great job.
Well, one of those guys, Jung-Hoo Lee, had an incredible series in New York. The Big Apple, the bright lights, the big city, and this dude fucking delivered.
Yeah, no, he had a homer first game, and then third game he hit 2 homers against Carlos Rondon, which it's the first time that a left-hander has ever hit 2 homers in a game off of Rondon. So, Jung-Hoo Lee basically carried the team right there in New York. We got 2 out of 3 in the Big Apple, which is tough to do, especially in Yankee Stadium. And now, you step up to Philly. win the first game, play really well. They won 9-1, and tonight they were losing 4-3, and then Bryce Harper hit a hanging slider, so now it's 6-4 right now, and they're in the top of the ninth. Let's see, Yastrzemski just struck out, and now Patrick Bailey's up at the plate.
Yeah, I have it on the tube right here. This is via MLB.com. I mean, this is cool, man.
Yeah. Oh, look at that go.
I
Yeah.
just got these games firing right now. We're live on No Filter Network, reacting to all of the action. Specifically, right now, we're focusing on the ninth inning in San Francisco. Like Thrill said, it's Phillies 6, San Francisco 4. I like the Phillies tonight. It was just one of those things where you got to figure the Giants were due to cool off a little bit. The Phillies coming off that defeat last night. Fitzgerald goes down on a strike, so there's now 2 outs in the ninth.
Yeah, that was Bailey. That was Bailey. Bailey took 3 heaters.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, at some point, you got to swing the fucking bat, huh?
Yeah, no. And then the dude that's throwing is that Strom guy. He's throwing 92. He's not lighting up the radar gun, and he just took some balls right there. And so Fitzgerald's up.
Yeah, so here's Fitzgerald, Thrill. Let's take a look at this at bat right now. He's 1 ball, no strikes. You got to think this would be a good matchup for him, but no, he pops it up way up there. And that's it. It's a ball game.
The ball game. He popped it up to Bryce Harper. Hey, look, it's one of those things. When we just talked about it. They're 8-2 right now, which is way above average. But when you go on the road, if you can win 2 out of 3 in the opponent's ballpark, that's pretty damn good for the year. And so, they won yesterday. They just lost just now. They got another game coming tomorrow, and we'll see if we can't get the series win.
Well, the irony, though, Thrill, is that they're doing this with not their best offensive production from, say, a guy like Matt Chapman hasn't even gotten it going yet.
Yeah, no, and then not only that too. Let me go back up here. Jung-Hoo Lee is the one that's been hot right now. Ramos has cooled off. He's in the 220s. Adames is hitting 200. He's trying to find his way as well. Chapman's in the 200s. Flores was on Fuego, and he's cooled off. He's in the 240s. So, and Yastrzemski's the other one. He's hitting right at 300. So, like I said, they're getting production from everybody, but it'd be nice if we get 3 or 4 guys hot at the right time, and that'll set the tone.
Well, you mentioned some of the Giants' batting averages, Thrill. The league average right now is hovering around 230. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually went and looked at it today and just kind of had to shake my head. The one thing that stands out, we had talked about the Giants. The Giants are kind of right in the middle of the mix. They're not way up and they're not way down. They're right in the middle of the mix. But the team that kind of surprised me, not necessarily from an offensive standpoint, but from a a pitching standpoint, is the Padres. They're second in the major leagues in batting average, and they're also second in the major leagues in ERA. So you combine those 2 things, to a big league ball club, and that's why the Padres are playing pretty good. And the last series that they just had pretty much proved it. You want to know the truth? They had Colorado come in to San Diego, 3-game sweep. They did not allow a run, and Colorado had 9 hits in 3 games. So just a dominant pitching performance by the Padres.
I've never even fucking heard of that, dude. Getting shut out 3 consecutive games. I guess it's happened a few other times in the history of Major League Baseball. But what does that say about the futility of the Colorado offense and kind of really where the game is offensively right now?
Yeah, no. Colorado is scuffling over there. They're last in the division. I think they're 3 and something. And the Padres just said, "Hey, look, we're supposed to beat up on these guys," and they did. And so, you know, the Padres are undefeated at home, which we just got through talking about. You want to play really good at home, and try to win, a little bit above 500 on the road, and they're doing what they need to do.
It's incredible to think that you have the Padres and Giants that started out the way they have. But
Yeah,
obviously, waiting in the wings here are the Los Angeles Dodgers in third place at 12-6 right now. And then you still have the Diamondbacks at 10-7. Take away the Rockies, and you can even add the Rockies in. This is still by far the best division in baseball.
yeah, by far, by far. A lot of talent, top to bottom in this division, and you got some stud teams and some teams that are trying to sneak in the back door. So
You know what's interesting for the Dodgers? They only have a +2 run differential.
really,
That's
I didn't
it.
even pay attention to that.
No, Padres at +36, Giants at +27, Diamondbacks at +16, and then you have the Dodgers only at +2. Well, they did have that one game where they gave up all those fucking runs and they brought in that position player to pitch and he started mimicking all the starters
Yeah,
on the Dodgers staff. That was pretty fun to watch.
yeah, that was cool. I mean, he knows what's going on. He's out there to entertain the crowd. So, but
That's
anyway,
exactly it. All right, Thrill. So before we get into anything else, I want to bring this up because I had a post earlier about it today. I had the awesome opportunity to go to UCLA, play in Jackie Robinson Stadium. It is Jackie Robinson Day. This is the day that he broke the color barrier in 1947, I believe. Yeah. And, here we are now. We're celebrating it. Everyone's got 42 on the back of their jersey. When you think about Jackie Robinson, what are kind of the first, things that come to your mind and his impact on the game of baseball?
well, I had a chance to meet his widow. I didn't get a chance to meet Jackie, but just a super young lady, and for what he did for the game, and breaking the racial barrier, and coming into the league and being a dominant force, and then also being a Hall of Famer. Pretty amazing, and with all the craziness going on at that time of the world. So, he deserves every accolade he gets, and he should have people wearing his jersey out there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually wrote my senior thesis at UCLA on Jackie Robinson and how him breaking the color barrier in baseball transcended sports in general and how big of an impact it had on the civil rights movement. And so really what I did is I dug into major civil rights breakthroughs that happened after Jackie broke the color barrier. So focused on that and, ended up absolutely acing. I forget. I might have been the first 100% or whatever it was that I got at UCLA. I think I had a feeling the teacher would appreciate it. He was a bit of a baseball fan of the professor. And so anyway, it was obviously a joy to play. Now, when I think about Jackie real quick, what a lot of people don't know about him is that this guy it was either the conference or the NC2A in rushing for football. He led the conference in scoring for basketball. He was the NC2A long jump champion, and that didn't even count the sport in which he was a Hall of Famer. So I wholeheartedly believe he's one of the greatest athletes, obviously, to ever live, and you could make a very easy argument to say that he was the best of the best.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about all the stuff right there, but you combine what he did on a baseball field to that other stuff right there, and he's just an all-around stud. That's the only way you can put it. I mean, you hear about four-star Letterman and all that sort of stuff, and good Lord Almighty, that's pretty impressive what that resume entailed right there.
Well, the irony is that he hit under 200 at UCLA on the baseball team. But if you think about it, if he was a four-sport athlete, that's track season, dude.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine he was off winning the long
Yeah.
jump competition to become an NCAA champion in track rather than focusing on baseball. But then he saw that, hey, look, baseball, could be his pathway, and end up. I mean, just I can't tell you obviously what he means to the game of baseball. I don't need to tell you what he means
Yeah.
to
No,
the game of
no, it's
baseball and everything.
pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So,
Okay, let's transition now to a post actually that you sent me. Now, it's typically, I'm always sending you shit. Well, you sent me a post from Aaron Judge's hitting coach, teacher man, they call him. And he had used your image in one of his teachings. And you immediately sent it to me. And you're like, what the fuck, dude?
so this is the post right here. Okay, I'll just show it to you guys real quick. So there I am. That's in the Astrodome against the Astros, right? And on the top of the post, it says, "Where's his weight at launch? Where's his head at launch? What side of the ball of the rear femur is he on at launch? And is that pelvis tilted up?" And I'm like, all right. First off, okay, I got this from two guys that absolutely hate this dude. This dude's name's Richard Schenck, right? Isn't it, Trey? All right, and his name's they call him Teacher Man and all that. He is claiming to be Aaron Judge's, personal hitting guru and all that sort of shit. And he's claiming that all of Aaron Judge's success is because of him. Well, Aaron Judge is 6'8", 275. He's going to hit fucking homers no matter whether he's hitting with this guy with fucking blue jeans or not. Okay, so let me just say this, all right, and this is a direct to you, Richard Schenck. Do not use me anymore in your teachings. All right, I worked extremely hard to make it look easy, to make it look fluid, to work on timing, to work on contact. I didn't do all of this fucking back snap bullshit that you do. Looks like a monkey fucking a football. All right. I didn't do any of that shit. I tried to make it nice and easy and fluid. So do not use me as an example anymore of your teachings because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And matter of fact, while I'm on the subject, we have 2 or 3 kids in our minor league system that propose that they are following the teacher man stuff. And I can tell you one thing, I got to fix every fucking part of their swing. It's so fucked up. So, hey, dude, you went to Truman State University, Division II, and you didn't even fucking make it past there. You're a goddamn bar owner, all right? Just worry about serving fucking Jack Daniels and don't worry about fucking back snapping and all that bullshit. Fucking see ya.
Oh, thrill.
I've been waiting all week for that, by the way.
Incredible. Look, I'm always the last to judge. And I just say that in the sense that to each their own. So if Aaron Judge has worked with Teacher Man and Teacher Man has helped Aaron Judge and it's worked for him, great. We all typically use different language. And I think what has made him so controversial is the way he talks about hitting. Now, if you look at Aaron Judge when he's squaring up baseballs and everything's happening right, like, man, it's tough to argue because he very easily could be the very best hitter in the game today and arguably one of the greatest hitters of all time. When he is on, it is a thing of beauty to watch. Like you said, Thrill, Aaron Judge is different. And now I'm not to I don't want to pile on. I actually want to play a little bit devil's advocate because he has had success, obviously, with Teacher Man. Now, there are certain guys, Jeff Fry, I know being one of them. Jay,
I hate
Jay
him.
Gibbons, who I
He
played
hates
with,
him.
I know beat another, have butted heads relentlessly
You know
with
who else
teacher
too
man.
is Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones hates him too.
Yeah. I
But
didn't look.
hey, look, let me show you this. All right. So here's another picture of this meathead. All right. So he's standing there holding a fucking piece of pipe or whatever this shit is. You see where it's pointing? It's pointing straight up. His freaking shoulders are out of whack. He's wearing fucking blue jeans. If you're gonna be a coach, or if you're gonna try to be a coach, at least fucking dress like a ball player. Quit fucking wearing little baggy cargo shorts and blue jeans. That's bullshit. All right. So here's the thing. He's talking about some bat snapping thing, right? Okay. So, all right. The first thing that we're talking about, and you just saw it on that picture right there. He's actually trying to go straight up. All right. So when he's doing this bat snapping thing that he's talking about, look what's happening. That front elbow is coming up. All right. As soon as that front elbow comes up, the barrel of the bat drops and you're coming up at the baseball. Once again, we talked about this. The ball's coming this way. You want to go that way. All right. Your timing doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, and you're on plane with the ball. So you can catch it here, 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 and your timing doesn't have to be perfect, and you can still square up the ball. If you are coming up at it, so here's the ball, you're coming up at it, you got one place to catch it. And if you don't catch it perfect, you're going to swing and miss, pop up, roll over. You got just all kinds of bullshit going on. So this is the kind of guy who is trying to get into the sport, make a few dollars, but doesn't know shit. And him and his fucking entourage, the trolls that he has, they're a bunch of fucking wackos. Don't use me as an example ever again, because I use common sense and hard work. All right. You have no earthly idea what I was trying to do up at home plate. And to talk about what kind of verbiage is this when you go, where is his femur? Who the fuck cares about your femur? It's, hey, are you on your back leg and then you're fucking gonna launch? And then when you launch, is that pelvis tilted up? Fuck no, it ain't tilted up, you dumbass. I'm trying to drive the ball on a fucking line. I'm not trying to go up in the air, dickhead.
Well, I found that interesting because I think he was trying to say that your pelvis was actually tilted up, where when you're at launch, dude, you had your thing, right?
Yeah.
And back then you were a big strider, so you're here and you got here and you were in this great position to hit. But when I looked at your belt, the tilt was maybe like just barely.
Yeah.
And he's what I understand his teachings are. I could do it with this pool stick right here. In the picture you're showing me, like I've seen this before. The guys are like, ugh,
That's it
ugh,
right there. That's it.
ugh.
That's it. And he does it with like PVC and shit like that. And I'm like, what the shit is this guy doing? And the thing is, all right, you know, uh, that's how you get all of your weight into the baseball, is to stay on that linear line that the ball is on, and you get all of your weight, all of your momentum, everything into the baseball. All right. If you're coming up, you're not on that linear line. All right. And on top of that, it creates all kinds of problems. As soon as your back shoulder drops, as soon as this elbow gets trapped in by your rib cage, and so you can't get to the front of the zone. So you're late and you roll over and you pop up and shit like that. And that's what I'm saying. When I see these kids in minor leagues, I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I gotta fix not one thing, but like 6 things. All right, let's work on the main thing that will get you back online here. And that's what's coming about some of these guys that are now trying to get into baseball. They're trying to make their own little niche and their own little mark. They never played. They didn't have any success. coming from a Division II fucking school. You didn't even play nobody in college, jackass. So, fuck off. Don't use me again as an example.
Well, Thrill, we were always taught, especially with two strikes, is to figure out a way to get on top of the baseball. And so if you're constantly talking about working underneath the baseball, it's not good, dude. And the repercussions are low batting averages and high strikeout rates. And
Yes.
right now, the batting average is at an all-time low, and our strikeout rates are at an all-time high.
Yep.
This is the fucking issue.
Right.
Not only is he fucking with certain players and guys that you say you have to work with, but the overall approach here is fucking with the game, and it's not good for it.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, and Trey and I have talked about it numerous times, okay? No matter what you're doing here, all right, hands, feet, whatever, your number one focus ought to be when that pitcher cuts the ball loose, I am locked in on the baseball. And if you're fucking worried about this fucking bat snapping bullshit, and man, I got to do this and I got to do that, the last thing that you're going to be doing is locked in on the baseball. You're going to be worried about everything else. You're going to be late. You're going to have all kinds of other issues. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing with these guys that are getting into pro ball. And you got some of these wacko hitting instructors, and I just sit there and I just shake my head. I'm like, oh my God.
So, Thrill, last night I had a really good conversation with a good buddy of mine who is at Long Beach State. And it's actually one of my really good friend's kids, right? And the kid's from Mammoth. Really interesting story. Incredible athlete. I think he has first-round talent. His name's Matt Toomey. And he ended up getting a scholarship to go to Long Beach State out of Mammoth. Now, you have to understand, this kid played very little travel ball. He has seen very little upper-end competition. So he was going to go to Cyprus and get a ton of reps at JC, which is what he needs, right? But TJ over at Long Beach saw the same thing we all see with him. Incredible talent. And he's had some ups and downs here in his freshman year, but he's playing a ton. His walk to strikeout ratio is not great at this point. And so when you watch him, I'm like, Matt, man, look, dude, all we got to do is simplify. You're way too good of a fucking athlete. And you see him on the field, you're just like, whoa, this kid's different, right? Than everyone else on the field. You're way too good of an athlete to let all this other bullshit with load and movement and everything else get in the way. And so what I literally was FaceTiming with him last night at Toomey's, which is the restaurant in Mammoth, which his dad owns. I'm like, look, let's spread out. And so he puts his phone on the ground. And he's like, hey, is this enough? I go, no. I'm like, let's even go a little bit more. I said, think two-strike approach. And I said, now we're basically going to rest our bat on our shoulder. We're going to get this launch position, and you're just going to fucking battle. You're going to get on the dish. You're going to simplify. And, dude, he sent me a video today of him doing it, and it literally melted my heart. And he goes, Byrnesy, I think I know what you're talking about. He goes, earlier this year when I was raking, I had my two-strike approach. And here's the video. As I'll kind of put it here as you can see. I mean, it's very, if you watch it, just one more time, let's try to get a clear picture here. That's
all right.
simple.
So you ran across something absolutely perfect that I've been preaching for a few years now. All right. There's a lot of guys that have a lot of moving parts, right? They got little ticks and shit like that. Mine was kind of orchestrated. I could do it over and over and over. I can do it in my sleep, right? But now some of the young guys, they do it one time, they don't do it one time, they do it, and it's always screwing with their timing. I have, for about the last 5 years, I've been telling a lot of these kind of guys like this, hey, why don't you go with your two-strike approach? Because you slow down a lot, you don't have as much movement, and you're short and quick to the ball. And every time I've seen you take your 2-strike approach, you have better at bats than you do coming out of your freaking shoes. And so you're basically telling that kid the same thing. And that swing that you just showed me was nice, short, compact, had plenty of time to see the ball and get the barrel of the bat there.
So, Thrill, I like how you referenced yourself because I think that's important. You had a gift that was different than I had, than even Matt Man has, who I was just referring to.
Right.
Your gift was this natural fluidity with what you were doing. That's why you were on the cover of fucking Sports Illustrated
Right.
that said the natural. Okay. When you're dealing with, say, a athletic type like myself, who I would consider myself, I was an athlete that happened to play baseball.
Right.
Batman's an athlete that happens to play baseball. Well, I was able to find success by literally putting my dick on the dish, so to speak, getting all over it, limiting any movement that I'm going to have here. And I would preload Rudy Jaramillo style that he used to teach with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
I preload like this, and then I go. I preload and I go. And one of the things, and you brought this up, dude, when you get here, all of your energy goes to one place, your fucking eyes. So I don't have to worry about my hips tilting or freaking this dropping or any other bullshit, because the only thing I have to think about is taking the barrel of the fucking bat and putting it on the ball.
Right.
That's it. And seeing it. That's it.
Right. So you know, it's amazing how when you take a swing and you start cutting some movement out, it's amazing how much more time you have, first off. And then second off, it allows you to have also a little bit of time to get some rhythm. All right. One of the big swing changes that I made in my career, and you and I have talked about it probably, in the last few years, everybody in the audience has heard it in the past. They haven't heard it here lately. But I was a big stand straight up guy, and then I'd duck back, and then I'd go, right? Okay, fine. But it was screwing my timing on some guys who were throwing fastballs pretty good, because in being straight up and then rocking back, I was getting caught in between. So sometimes I was late, sometimes I was early. If I caught it perfect, it was a thing of beauty, but it wasn't consistent, right? And so Dusty was the guy that said, "Look, we're gonna cut some movements out." I'm like, "All right, what are we gonna do?" He goes, "Well, you're up here and then you rock back." He goes, "Why don't we cut that move out and just start back?" And I'm like, "Okay, that sounds good. That's one whole move I'm out of." All right. So now I'm back, right? And so now I'm telling him, "All right, what gets me to stop going too far forward?" And he goes, "First off, you got to hit against your front leg. You gotta be stiff against your front leg." I said, "That's perfect. I get it, because that way I'm hitting up against the wall. I'm not going like pushing through the wall." I said, "But what gets me to where I'm not going too far?" He goes, "Well," he said, "if you start back," he said, "just start rocking." He said, "like a little dance move." He said, "Start rocking." And he said, then at the same time, he says, "Look what happens." He says, let me move them for you. Your hands get nice and loosey goosey, and then that's where the little rock in the back came from, right? So now you're loosey goosey until you're ready to clamp down and go. All right, that's first off, and then second off, my load became back and up, back and up, back and up. So now I got this little rhythm going. I'm going back and up, back and up, and we even talked about it on a high fastball. I would just go like this. All right, I'm rolling back and go a little higher with the hands to get on top of the high fastball. And that rhythm, for me, I don't know why, because Dusty did it. And he said, "Stay with it, brother, stay with it." And dude, that was 1989. That was coming out of everything, right? So now Boogie Bear sees it, and we start talking behind the cage, and I'm like, "Dusty told me to do this and do that." And I said, "Dude, it's clicking." I said, "Why don't you try it from the right side?" So then Boogie Bear turns around and he starts giving himself a little rocking and rolling. He's the freaking MVP that year, 47 and 120, whatever, so it's not about being static. It's about having a little bit of rhythm, all right? Not too much, but a little bit of rhythm, because you're loosey-goosey. And this goes back to the kids that you just talked about with the two-strike approach, all right? I'm nice and easy. I'm working on my timing, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and I'm getting that bat hit to the zone. Ryan came on there, and he wants to know how to fix that back elbow problem. All right. So let me see if I can. Yeah, here it is right here. So a lot of these guys get that back elbow trapped, and then you see the back shoulder drops, and then immediately the barrel of the bat drops. Okay. So the way to do that, Ryan, you're dealing with 10, 12-year-olds. All right. I'm dealing with adults. You take that bottom hand and you pull. Okay. If you take that bottom hand and you pull, it clears that elbow. That elbow cannot get trapped, all right, because you go into the front of the zone. So my elbow never gets trapped in that rib cage, and the barrel of the bat doesn't drop.
I love that. Alex Bregman talks about taking the knob of the bat past the baseball.
Same
Tony
thing.
Gwynn
Same
talked
thing.
about taking
Same
it right
exact
to the
thing.
baseball. I even like Bregman's more, and Bregman ironically hit a home run today, but he thinks about pulling that thing all the way past it and then letting that barrel fly. But the thing about that is that if you talk about getting trapped in here, right?
Yeah.
If you do this, you're not trapped in here.
No, you're not
You
trapped.
stay here and you stay open.
Yeah, your elbow clears and you get it out in front. And believe it or not, that is what I am having a lot of problems with some of our minor leaguers is they're in here, and they'll either head duck like that, and you see what happens. As soon as you head duck, that elbow goes in there and gets trapped. And so it's hard for them to get to the front of the zone. So that's why I'm telling a lot of guys, keep your head up and get this freaking thing out there to the front of the zone, and it doesn't get trapped. Okay. And by the way, while I'm thinking about it, we have a guest in the chat room, Miss Tara Byrnes, 29 plus 1 week. Hi, gorgeous.
Hello, honey. She is not here in Las Vegas, Thrill. She's actually back home, but she will be joining tomorrow in Viva Las Vegas.
Nice. Tara, go hit the slot machines. Win some freaking cash while he's out there on the field.
Well, you know what I need? I need her to bring the cash, actually. Thrill. I used to always say it takes a lot of losing money to stay in rooms like these.
Yeah, no, I get it. So
yeah,
so
a little extra
here.
pile on.
All right, so we go from the kind of stupid teachings, okay, to the common sense type of teachings. The stuff that we just went through for the last 5 minutes or so is all stuff that Dusty Baker told me. Every great hitter that came to first base told me. It's amazing that when the guys who knew what the shit they're doing, they come to first base and every one of them say the same thing. It's like, I need to pay attention because these guys are all saying the same thing, and maybe I need to put that in my game. And so now, when I show up, in these minor league, I'll get this number. I'll be in the cage and, I'll say, hey, what about trying this and trying that? And they'll go, I'm not real comfortable. That don't work for me, and the first thing I look at, and I just start shaking my head and I go, well, you're hitting 220. I flew 2,000 miles to fix your ass. And you might want to try something different, dickhead.
Why do you think some of these guys are so resistant to change?
I don't know. Trey and I, we talk about this all the time. When I'm a hitter, all right, I'm looking at why is this team going here on me all the time? And then I start breaking it down. I'm like, oh, I got a hole in here because I'm doing that, and I'm doing that. So what do? I go out on the field and I work on that hole, right? I want to take that hole and make it small. So now they got to work to get it in there. And now that's not what guys are about now. They're not about being total complete hitters. They're about just letting it fly. And if I hit a homer, great. If I strike out, it's part of the game now. Instead of grinding and battling and freaking learning from swings and being able to take the game and slow it down and step up and be the man when it's time to be the man. Guys, there's a lot of guys that have problems with that.
So, Thrill, I don't know how you were, but when I played, the absolute worst feeling in the entire world was striking out.
Yes.
How have these guys become okay with it?
That I do not know. That I do not know. I mean, for me personally, I felt like if I struck out, I felt like I let the team down, and I let especially the guys that are hitting behind me down, because I didn't see enough pitches, or I didn't put a ball in play and make the defense work to get me out. And so that's why it was a main focus of mine from the time I was a rookie to when I retired. I wanted that strikeout rate to go down, and it did. Because hey, look, I'm the first one to admit I had over 100 strikeouts. But also I had 700 freaking plate appearances. All right, I'm coming up there a lot, and so.
Well, anything under 20% or 20% or unders is.
Yeah, no, I was nowhere.
500. If you have 500,
nowhere near 20%. I was like 10, 12.
If you have 500 plate appearances.
This rant is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Single Barrel.
That's so good, man. That reminds me of the song. If you haven't seen it yet, go to Instagram when we have Thrill swinging in the batting cage. I guess I'm still doing it now, what I was doing then.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you said that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get in the cage. One of these days here soon. I gotta do some traveling, and then when we do a show, it's not too hot or whatever, I'm gonna get in the cage, and we're gonna walk through some of this stuff that we're talking about, like the stuff we talked about with Ryan, the stuff that you're talking about with 2-strike approaches, all that sort of stuff. We can walk through all of that, and people can actually visualize what it looks like to be like terrible and what it looks like to be like, oh shit, that's actually much better,
So one guy right now, Thrill, that is a complete and total throwback. Jacob Wilson of the Oakland A's. Jack Wilson's kid.
Jack Wilson's kid, really?
Yes, bro. This is a buddy of mine. I played with Jack in Seattle. I got to meet Jacob not only when he was with Seattle, he's just a little young tyke running around, but when I was on the field with the A's saying goodbye to the Coliseum last season. An awesome kid. He has an incredible ability to take the barrel of the bat and put it on the baseball. So far this season, Thrill, he has just about 70 plate appearances. He's struck out 3 fucking times. That's it. 3.
That's pretty good, huh? That's pretty solid, huh, Trey?
You just don't see it these days,
hey,
man.
No, and hey, tip of the cap to him. I mean, that's in today's game. I mean, good Lord, nobody makes contact like that.
Bro, he's
especially
getting
on a consistent basis.
338. I believe he's hitting every single game so far this season. I know he had that streak as of like a couple days ago. He's got a knock tonight in Chicago as they're stomping the White Sox right now, 9-3. Now, here's the irony, though, Thrill.
White Sox.
This is not, well, I don't know if this is ironic or what, but he also has 0 walks. So playing for the A's, who are the walk kings, right? He has 0 walks, but just 3 strikeouts.
Well, here's the thing. All right. I don't know if he can hit the ball out the ballpark. This is the first time.
Can. He's got some pop.
Okay, this is the first time I'm hearing about him. But evidently, he is the guy in that lineup where they say, we cannot walk him. We have to make him swing the bat. And so there are guys like that. So,
well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, good hitters
Yeah.
it's hard for those guys to walk because they're always putting the ball in play.
Yeah, and I mean that's like Tony Gwynn. You know, everybody's like, why didn't he walk a lot? Because he was so freaking good. Every time he swung the bat, he put the ball in play.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on. But I got to give my son, he's sitting right here, Trey Clark, a little credit. I got a quiz for everybody.
I love it.
All right, so this goes along with our hitting that we're talking about right now, and there are 4 gentlemen that 3 of them are Hall of Famers, one of them's not, that are the leaders all-time baseball of 4-hit games. And so the guy who's not the Hall of Famer, you guys know. He just
4-hit
passed.
game.
He just passed.
Oh, Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Okay.
All right. So Pete Rose is number 2. All right. So who would you think would be number 1, like all-time hits leader, but then 4 hits in a game?
I don't know why, but I feel like Vladimir Guerrero would be there.
Almost. Good try.
Okay.
Ryan must have freaking Googled it. So you cheating bastard, Ryan. So number 1 is Ty Cobb with 87 4-hit games. Pete Rose, 73 4-hit games. The Stan the Man, the unbelievable legend of the Cardinals, 67 4-hit games. And finally, a Hall of Famer that should get more publicity that doesn't is George Sisler with 65 4-hit games.
Yeah, I don't know enough about George Sisler.
George Sisler was an older ball player. You know, he was in the Cobb generation and all that. Maybe in between Cobb and Musial, but could freaking rake. You know, batting title winner. You know, MVP, the whole works.
Do you think George Sisler was doing this drill thrill?
I promise you he would. I promise you he didn't have a piece of plastic going, whatever. You know? All right, so now check this one out. So then Trey takes it a step further after he gave me that quiz, right?
Okay.
He takes it a step further and he goes, guess who's got the most 5-hit games? And I go, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, you got to have 4 hits in order to get 5 hits. So I got to pick Cobb and Rose, right?
Okay.
And sure enough, Ty Cobb had 14 5-hit games, and Pete Rose had 10 5-hit games.
I would have put Ichiro in the mix here too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing about, you know, Cobb and Rose and Ichiro. They all hit 1 or 2, so they're in the top of the lineup. They're, especially if you score in a lot of runs, they're coming through 6 times a game. You know, so they're getting 6 ABs.
Yeah, you have to think of leadoff hitters, and then you also have to think of guys kind of like we mentioned, like that don't walk.
Yeah.
You know, they're always putting the ball in play.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
they're consistently at the top of the lineup too.
Right, exactly. And then here's another thing too. All right, you can kind of flip that around too. So 89 was my career high. You know, like hit 333 and all that sort of stuff. But I had 196 hits, right? But I had 100 walks.
Yeah.
And so I never reached the 200 hit plateau because I walked. Because my job in the middle of the lineup was not only drive in runs, but set up the dudes behind me. And so, you know, if I'd have swung the bat a little bit more and walked less that year, I'd have probably had 200 hits, no problem.
Bro, that's the thing though. It's, you know, if you wanted to swing at everything,
yeah,
you could have, but you were too natural and too good of a hitter.
Well, and then here's the thing. So my whole theory of and my theory aligned with Brett Butler's. Brett Butler was, I'm going to go up to the plate. I'm going to be a pesky little bastard. I'm going to see 6, 7, 8 pitches, 9 pitches, and then everybody who's coming up behind me has a pretty damn good idea what the hell's going on, right? And so then I'm taking it a step further because I'm like, all right, if you make a mistake, I'm going to try to capitalize on it. But if you're messing around, if you're dicking around, I'm going to take first base and let Boogie Bear or Matt Williams or Barry Bonds or whatever beat on your ass. So that's kind of where the theory was.
So, Thrill, another guy for the A's that had a monster game tonight. 2 more home runs. Tyler Soderstrom.
Yeah, Soderstrom's been on fire, man. He's actually been, and I didn't know about your partner, but Soderstrom has been like the sore thumb right in the middle of the Oakland lineup because he's been going off. So,
Bro, he's got 8 home runs, 17 runs driven. It's hitting 317. He's got a 1.124 OPS. And actually, we discussed this before, but his dad played for the Giants.
that's right, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And he actually, so he was in the youth travel scene back in the day, but the dad's known for having this kick-ass field out in the middle of the Central Valley where during COVID, you would have all the travel ball teams emerge upon this field. And it'd be the only place that'd be running like these one-day tourneys.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh? And then the kid ended up being
that's
first round
cool as
pick.
shit.
Yeah.
So Big Mike came on there and he said, Trey, you need to answer this quiz. All right. Who broke up the most no-hitters with a home run? You know that one?
Well, okay, so I would have guessed Ricky Henderson. I saw this trivia question the other day, and the reason why is because they would have a no-hitter in the first inning, right? And Ricky has more leadoff homers than anybody else.
That makes a lot of sense. What do you think of that? You think that's right or what? Huh? I mean, Ricky Henderson has the most leadoff hitters, leadoff homers, and so technically he broke up the most no hitters because he homered in the first at bat, right?
Hey, Thrill, Alex
And guess
Bregman
what?
today.
Big Mike said correct.
Alex Bregman today. This breaking news just in: his first career 5-hit game.
Oh.
Congratulations, Alex.
We were just talking about
Yeah, we were just talking about him. I'll try.
You know, he's a friend of the program, man. He follows all our shit.
Well, another thing too is, Alex Bregman supports autism. I know he did it when he was with Houston, and I was trying to hook up with him when he was in Houston to, you're a Central Division team, I'm a West Coast team, that kind of thing, and we just couldn't get it done. So, Alex Bregman, give the Thrill a holler.
You know what, Thrill? I'm sure he will. The thing I love about Bregman is that everybody I talk to who knows him really well, Jason Castro specifically, who it's from Stanford, catcher with the Astros for a long time, he would said, look, Bregman is the ultimate student of the game. He eats, breathes, and shits fucking baseball every day, all day. That's the mentality that it takes to be great, right?
Yeah.
So, anyhow.
Yeah. So, when we make adjustments on the pro side of things, well, and then I can't say that because I did it when I was in college too. But when I made adjustments in season, you and I talked about this already. I made little adjustments, right? Let's say, if you had your hands here, I wanted to move my hands just a little higher, whatever it might be. Or if I felt like I was too narrow, I'd get just a little bit wider, whatever it might be. Okay. But it was little adjustments in season because my main focus, and I said this before, and I'm telling everybody again, was as soon as he cuts it loose, I'm concentrating on the baseball. I could give a fuck less what my hands are doing, my feet's doing, what my head's doing. I'm concentrating on the baseball. And so when you do make wholesale changes, you need to do that during the off season to where you can get comfortable with it, get a lot of reps and that sort of stuff. So that for you, especially, teaching the kids, during while you guys are playing, make little adjustments, not wholesale adjustments. If you want to do wholesale adjustments, do it while we ain't playing in these tournaments and stuff.
Well, that's what I was telling Matt Man last night, right? The kid that plays for Long Beach State. I'm like, bro, I don't want you to do anything that you're not comfortable doing. Like at this point, I said, all I want you to do is take what you already have. I don't want you to change your swing. I simply want you to make it easy for yourself. And that's it. And then make those adjustments in BP. And if you don't like them and it doesn't feel right, fuck it.
Yeah.
Drop it. I said, but if it feels right, take it into a game. But when you get in that game, I said, I want you thinking about nothing else than seeing the fucking baseball. Nothing else. And then you just naturally react and you go. Be an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I couldn't agree with you more. That's 1,000%. I'm gonna get off subject for a minute because while you were chatting, I pulled up Sisler's stats. He hit 340 over the course of 15 years, and he had 9,000 plate appearances. He had 300 strikeouts. 9,000 plate appearances and 300 strikeouts. All right. So, and then, Big Mike knows because Big Mike and I talk about it, but go check out Red Shandy's, his stats. He was one of Musial's teammates, Superman. He went 1 year, and I can pull it up, but I know he went 1 year where he had almost 700 plate appearances, struck out 8 times.
We can't even fathom that. Like it doesn't make sense. It was a different game.
Yeah, a different game. But anyway, and so, for you in your, LTP program, Ryan, whoever it might be. All right, look, the easiest thing to teach a kid, and they got to get over the little scared part, is to take your hands to the ball. So let me get it up here. All right. So my face is the ball. If I'm taking my hands to the ball, next thing that comes is the barrel of the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And as long as you take your hands to the ball, the barrel of the bat is going to follow your hands, and you're going to be inside the baseball, and you're going to get backspin.
Dude,
I can't explain it any better than that right there.
I saw you hit a ball. I was looking when I was putting that video together the other day after you sent me the one of you hitting off the tee, and I wanted to do he's still doing now what he was doing then, vid. And one of the videos that came up of one of your homers, you were in Philadelphia at the old vet.
Yeah.
And it looked like even like an off-speed pitch, kind of down the middle. It might not have been, but it was certainly down the middle. But you're like this, and you did exactly what you're talking about. It was you pull the hands inside, right? You catch it here, and this was.
And I hit that ball out of left. Right? I hit that ball out of left, right?
Out of left.
Yeah.
And it looked like a right-handed pull hitter just hit that fucking baseball.
Yeah. And that was in one of my 5-hit games. It was a grand slam. It was in the vet, and it was off of a left-hander, and it was a slider. And I didn't know whether he was going to throw a fastball or a slider. And I said, I'm just going to see it as long as possible. And then, like you said, I got there and I pulled the hands in, and the barrel of the bat was a smidge late, but I made perfect contact.
Perfect contact, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the ball,
exactly the swing you're talking about.
Yeah, the way it stayed straight,
yeah,
as opposed to hooking.
And that goes back to that right there, the pulling the hands in, and like you said, keeping it straight. that goes back to the stuff that Barry Bonds and I did on the field. We went out there and worked on that. And as soon as you hit a ball and you keep your hands inside the ball, dude, it's like Tiger Woods hitting his fucking stinger. It is just it's just a eat, and I loved it. I freaking loved it.
We all did. So Juan Soto gotten off to a bit of a slow start. I know he had a big night tonight, but one of the things that he mentioned, Thrill, was that having Aaron Judge hit behind him last season certainly impacted the way they pitched to him last year.
You think?
He's not getting as many pitches to hit. I mean, what the fuck did he think was going to happen?
Yeah, no shit. You become the main man over there in New York, and you got nobody behind you. Maybe Pete Alonso now, but if you didn't have anybody, dude, they'd be flipping some shit up there.
Yeah, and I saw that on MLB Network today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He had a good game, huh?
Or
just the pitches that he was seeing?
Pitches, yeah.
Okay, he's seeing a bunch of trash, right?
Yes.
Boom. That's what Mr. Eric's talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Thrill. Like, if I don't have to pitch to him, I'm not going to. And you and I said this when he signed with the Mets. We said, be careful what you wish for, bro.
Yeah.
You want to be the man and the only man. Like, yeah.
You're going to have to do a better job of hitting because nobody's going to be challenging you.
No. Fuck no.
All right, so here's another one coming from Trey Clark, ladies and gentlemen. All right, he's been a wealth of information this week. Okay, I don't know why this came up, but it's something that just eats at me. Okay, Ted Williams, who was one of my idols, I looked up to him. I had a chance to meet him a few times. What an unbelievable human being. He missed legitimately 3 out of 4 years serving the military. When he came back, he wound up playing 300 games, right? And in the meantime, we have Anthony Rendon, who has a 2019 to 2025. He's played 257 games compared to Ted Williams, when Ted Williams went into the military, wound up finding a way to play 300 games. And what?
I tell you this, but that's 2020 through 2024.
Okay, 2020 through 2024. All right, that's fine. But still, it's the fact that he's making, what, 25 million? He's making 25 million to play legitimately, I think it's 50 games a year. 50. It's like, oh my God, where has this game gone? And then now he's got some sort of, he went down for surgery, and I think it's a hip or something like that, and he's out for the year again.
Well, I mean, at some point you just cut bait and you move on. And I don't. He's dealt with some physical ailments. He was so good. I mean, remember the run he had with Washington when they won the World Series?
When he was with the Nationals, I'm like, oh, dude, put him on my team, please.
One time he had a 10 RBI game.
Yeah. So he said he had a 10 RBI game.
Yeah. So we talked about this the other day. Actually, Tara and I were talking about this with Jen, a friend of ours, and she got a daughter that ski races, and we talked about like the blessing and the curse of the early success.
Yeah.
And when you're, in ski races specifically, you'll see a lot of kids that were winning races at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. And then you see them slowly start to fade. And you actually we've seen a handful just quit. Like 2 specifically in my mind, like they were the best skiers, both these girls. And both of them just done. Like they just decided that was it. And, I think everyone's different. So I don't think you could certainly peg that early success on hey, that's going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to false expectations, whatever. I think in Rendon's case, got up to the big leagues, had a shit ton of success right away, won that World Series, got that contract, and then, bro, it's just been nothing. And he's talked about not loving the game of baseball too.
Yeah, no,
That was the
he
issue.
has definitely said that. Well, then guess what? If you don't love the game of baseball, first off, get the fuck out and give the money back.
Yeah,
You know,
that's tough, man.
hey, look, you sign your name on the dotted line. You the one that said I'm going to be the man and not be the man. No, sorry, that doesn't float with me. Sorry. And Big Mike, I know you're a Soto fan and you love him to death, but it's different hitting when you have protection as to when you don't have protection. Here's one for you. All right. So when Brett Butler was my leadoff hitter, he had a 400 on base percentage every year when he was my leadoff hitter. I drove in 100 runs every year he was my leadoff hitter. As soon as Darren Lewis became my leadoff hitter, he had a 280 on base percentage, and I drove in 75 or 80. So this is a team game, no matter what. All right. And so the way that the other team is looking at Juan Soto is, I'm not letting him beat me. Somebody else in that lineup is going to beat me. And that's what's going on right now.
Well, the one thing I could say, though, is that Pete Alonso has been arguably the best hitter in the National League. So Soto could say whatever he wants about the fact that Aaron Judge was hitting behind him last season. As of right now, Pete Alonso's hitting 356 with a 1,200 OPS.
Did you know he's hitting 356? It's pretty solid, huh?
You Judge?
No, Alonso.
Alonso.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's carrying his weight, and Soto needs to pick up the pace.
Yeah, well, ironically, tonight, Alonso, his 5th homer in the first inning, and then Soto hit his 3rd homer in the 4th inning. Both of those were off Aubert.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, I was looking at it. I was looking at it today, and because I really hadn't paid too much attention to it, but we talked about Fridays off in the schedule and shit like that, and for the Giants especially, they got some kind of weird travel. I don't know what the deal is, but I mean they're at New York. Playing 3, then they go to Philly. They play 4 in Philly, and then they go West Coast. They go to Anaheim. I'm like, if you're on the East Coast and you got to play another series against the East Coast team. You're already out there. Why fly across the country? But that's what's going on with the scheduling now.
Well, you know what's weird? There's been no interdivision games.
No, and you and I even talked about this a few shows ago because I was talking about the schedule. And the Giants do not play in their division until April 29th. April 29th. When we started the year out, when we started the season out, the whole first month of the season was straight in our division.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons being, and it would make more sense if like Philly were in San Francisco, but a lot of times weather on the East Coast could be rough this time of year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you could see, all right, well, let's have the East Coast teams travel west, but you have the Giants on this massive East Coast swing in the middle of April. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then they go American League East, National League East, and then American League West. It's like, dude, pick a fucking division. When you guys are making these schedules out, it's ridiculous what these people that are making the schedules out are doing. So once again, Commissioner's office, Rob Manfred, and all of his underlings.
Thrill, anything else you want to get off your chest tonight?
No, I'm doing pretty solid tonight. I'm doing.
Oh, dude, I mean,
I'm doing pretty solid.
You give me a whole lot of
whatever you do, Richard, Yeah, no, whatever you do, Richard Schenck, don't use me again. All right. Your fucking teachings are bullshit. I worked my ass off. You have no earthly idea what I was working on, what I was looking for up at the plate, what I was trying to do. And first and foremost, stay in the bar business.
I love Trey's in the background
Yeah,
laughs.
he's loving life.
They're so
Trey,
good.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Do you remember Mike Benjamin?
Yeah,
Of
Mike.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
he got like 13 straight hits.
He was like one of the hitting coaches for the
Arizona State.
yes.
Yeah.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Benjamin.
Yeah.
There was one time he had 6 hits in the game.
That's right. That's right. Mr. Eric just said that.
Yeah.
And so Dusty called me. Dusty called me into the plane and he goes, "Hey, I need you to go talk to Benjamin." I go, "Why?" He goes, "He's not listening." And this is when Dusty was our hitting guy. He goes, "Benjamin's not listening, not paying attention, all that sort of stuff." So I go up to Benjamin and I'm like, "Hey, dude, what's up with you and Dusty?" I said, "He's trying to help you here." I said, "He's helped everybody, so far in the lineup." I said, "Guys love his theories on things and getting to the ball and all that." And yeah, I'm just, and I don't know what verbiage he used. Either I'm not comfortable or whatever. And I go, "Dude, you're hitting $170, and you got called up from AAA. You were hitting 180. The only reason you're up here is because you can catch a ground ball. All right, that's the only reason." So now you fast forward a few years later, and we're in spring training, and I'm behind the cage, and I look off to the side, and here comes Arizona State's team. They're on the field. They're going to come walking up and watch everybody take BP and all that. And their head coach comes up, "Hey, Will, how you doing? Hey, how's everything?" He goes, "I think you know my hitting instructor." And I go, "Who is he?" And I looked off to the side, and it's Mike Benjamin, right? And I go, "That's your hitting instructor?" And I said it right in front of the team, right? And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "That motherfucker couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Now he's trying to teach these kids how to hit." I said he needed to hit. And so all the kids are dying laughing. And then I just turned around and went back to what I was doing. I was like, shit, dude, he didn't listen to me. He didn't listen to Dusty. Fuck it. I ain't giving him time. Kiss my ass, Mike.
Oh, dude.
I love you, Mike, but fuck you. Hey, you a teammate. You didn't listen.
I'm not clipping that one up. I'll celebrate the 13 straight hits he had, though.
Yeah, no, that's right. And hey, look, hey, you got 6 hits as a Cub. You.
No. 6 versus the Cubs.
Oh, okay, versus the Cubs. Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
versus the Cubs.
Yeah, you got 6 hits. Yippee! All right, what happened the rest of the season?
Oh.
Hofer.
All right, Thrill. Well, I got to feed these boys. I think we're hitting the sushi joint downstairs.
Sushi joint. Look at you go. Tara, what's on Smell-O-Vision on your end?
Yeah, that's a great question. If she's still there, dude, I don't think these kids get it, man. I like they're bumping around like big leaguers, right?
Dude,
I hope they appreciate this.
LTP, baby. LTP. We in Vegas. We in Vegas.
We are in Viva Las Vegas, man. All right, Thrill. Anything else you got?
You know what? If you'd have told me, starting out the season, the Giants would be where they're at, I'd have been ecstatic. I am ecstatic. I think there's a change of mindset. I think there's a change of what we need to do as a team in order to win ball games. I'm seeing it. Even tonight, I mean, hey, look, they lost the game 6-4, but they brought the time winning run up to home plate. So I mean, they've been in every game, and it's really good to see. Pitching staff's doing great. Keep it up, guys. And then I told you last week I had 2 scouts come up to me after they played. I'm going to call it Minute Maid. I don't even know what the fuck it is now. But
The juice box.
Yeah, juice box. They were in Houston. I had 2 scouts come up to me and said that they played so much better defense than they've seen from the Giants in years, and they had a much better ball club. And when you see guys that give you that information, you know, and they're lifers, it's like, all right. Bob Melvin and Buster Posey and everybody, they're in the right direction. Let's stay on that train.
And I love that because I do think it's worth mentioning that Buster Posey has righted the ship. And the lingo, the verbiage, all the stuff that is now floating around, whether it's the clubhouse, the analytics rooms, whatever, it seems like guys are just back to playing fucking baseball. And this looks like a great baseball team that's going to be in it wire to wire.
You know what? I'm from what I've seen, and especially the reason being is because pitching and defense wins baseball games. If we're catching the ball and we're making the other team earn hits and not free passes and walks and all that sort of stuff, we're going to win a lot of ball games. And so far, that's what I've seen.
All right, Thrill. Well, until next week, man, have a fantastic week ahead. Hopefully, LTP can bring
Yeah,
home a
yeah.
championship trophy that we can show off on the show next week.
That's right. That's right. Go be the dealers of Vegas. Ooh.
I like that. Joel, Battleborn, Josh, Victoria. Victoria, hello. How are you?
Ryan, everybody. I mean, Linda was in there early. We had Ted was in there early.
Austin, I mean, dude, I love it. We just keep growing.
Thanks, Trey, man.
All
You
the
did
chat
great.
room.
You did great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Loved your quizzes. Come up with some more quizzes.
Okay.
All right.
Trey, whenever you want, man.
Okay, thanks.
He was so fired up because he knew I was going to bring up some of his quizzes today. He was so fired up.
Well, they keep us all on our toes, man.
Oh, dude.
Trey is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to baseball.
Oh man, fun.
All right,
stuff,
dude.
Man, fun stuff. Hey, good luck with the kids, man. Yeah, seriously. I know you got a good group, but go over there and execute.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think if we execute, we're going to be just fine. It's a matter, 13U now. It's big boy territory. Like it's these guys. You can't just show up and win. It's just that's not the case anymore. You got to show up. You got to execute. We played our ability. We're going to take this thing down. And if we don't, hey, we'll learn. But
all right. So now here's the thing. All right. So here's the thing, and you and I have kind of talked about this before. You have taught these kids the right way to go about it. Okay. 11, 12, 13. Okay. They have yet to get some of that. Okay. When they get that, it's a different game. Okay. And you're looking at high school. All right. So they got a few more years of learning the game before that shit shows up. And when that shows up, it's a different animal.
You're right, man. And I'll tell you what, we were hitting on a field yesterday. Now we're in Mammoth. So, take it for what it is. But the fences were 310. And, dude, I've never seen my kid hit like this. Like, I mean, fucking launching balls out one after another, after another, after another. It was all of a sudden, like I said, the voice starts cracking, it gets a little deeper, and he's now wanting to go to the weight room all the time. And it's now starting. I think we're starting to see the first development of that next level. What's really cool is that 60-90 now is totally normal, and it feels totally normal for all of our kids, where they're not intimidated by the size anymore.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing where it doesn't, where they don't walk out on the field and go, whoa,
Yeah. All right, Thrill. Well, until next week. In the meantime, if you guys could tell a friend, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave a 5-star review if you're feeling generous. If you want to write a thing or two, we'd greatly appreciate that. And then every Tuesday at 6:05 p.m. ish.
Ish. And you keep pushing the ish back.
live on No Filter
I
Network.
don't know who won the bet tonight. Who won the bet? Anybody knows?
I got no clue. But we showed up. That's all that fucking matters, Phil.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
All right.
Hey, look, good show. You know, you let me get my rant in, and loved it. It was a lot of fun. I know you're gonna TikTok the hell out of it. Send it to me, and we'll go from there.
I'll send it to you right away, man.
Hey, and pretty soon here, the Thrill's gonna be making some trips. San Francisco. I know Richmond for sure, and then back to San Francisco. So be a lot of baseball in the near future. We will talk about a lot of cool stuff.
Love it. All right, Thrill. Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Bro, go get it for the LTPers.
See ya next week.